Well, again, like Megan, I will start with what Peng Huat said in the beginning of the session, although I was not there, but Peng Huat pointed out to the roots of Inter-Asia Cultural Studies Initiative in the beginning of the conference yesterday. The initiative to intervene into the traffic of knowledge from West to Asia. An initiative which is led by our frontier chief, Guan Xing-Chen, resulted in a lot of this conference and all other products. This is an initiative to carve a trajectory for what he called interreferencing within the region. After that, Peng Huat moved on to talk about a second moment, which is actually crucial in the development of cultural studies in the region. Which the moment is the rise of Asia, right? Asian capitalism, the economic boom, which is accompanied also by the flow of inter-Asia cultural flow, K-pop, J-pop, T-pop, C-pop, etc. This moment has actually given a lot of support to cultural studies in Asia, meaning job opportunities, research funding support, grant for education, and the livelihood of cultural studies in the region. Now, after 13 years of our existence, the IACS, the IACS has established itself as with a prestigious journal, summer school, with a society, with so many things that allows us to gather together here. Are we then now coming into a comfort zone in which we have institutionalized culture studies or inter-Asia culture studies? And then are we entering a kind of a period in which the culture studies or inter-Asia culture studies is serving now as a machine for scholarly reproduction? I hope not. But Megan is just we talked in the bus and said that, well, now our graduate conferences has become a space where students and scholars got credits, right? A credit for presenting in prestigious place like the NUS or RE, right? So if we are entering into that kind of institutionalization, then there is a danger that we have to really reflect on. And I hope not. That's why I'm very happy that the final session of this conference is entitled Contestations and Challenges in a Globalized World. Right? Now, before we go to contestation and challenges, I would like to give appreciation of what has occurred in the 2 days. First of all, the 2 days conference that only one day, I only followed 1 day, but according to me, this is a mirror or a reflection of the teaching and research, the culture studies teaching and research done in Asia, on Asia. So this is what we have reaped. If there are problems, it's our problem as teachers, right? So, but this is okay. And in these 2 days, we have seen an array of topics which cover a quite wide range of scholarship, from gender representation to so many, I can mention representation of identity and cultural product practices, travel and migration, technologies of travel and, subjectivity, state and capitalism, violence and memory, so wide range, cross-border transaction, etc., etc. But most of all, this graduate conference have served as a meeting meeting place and breeding ground for future cultural studies scholars. And in 2 days, you network, learn from one another, taking notes, exchanging, methodologies, issues, different history, learning about different histories. So I'm seeing here as one of you make this title, a third cultural studies scholar, young scholar. Yeah? Not third culture kid, but third cultural studies young scholar. For example, somebody coming from Hong Kong, studying about Indonesia in Singapore, somebody from Spain going to doing research on Taiwan in Hong Kong. This is the dynamics that has come about, and this is really something that is very hopeful, and I'm very happy about this kind of intersection of histories, regions, experiences. But during the break, I talked with some of you, and some of you acknowledged that there's something missing in this conference. What is it that's missing? Is it a common link? What is it? But I would like to put the blame of this missing thing to Daniel Goh and to Ong Sharon for making this conference too neat. Everything is, the food is yummy. I mean, the transportation, no traffic, and everything is so neat. So coming from Jakarta, I miss something. I miss a sense of crisis, a sense of emergency. Right? So something that, according to me, is very important in culture studies. Right? Why are we doing culture studies in the region? What makes it relevant? Why is it urgent to do so? This is the question that should drive us as culture studies scholars. Or maybe we are from a different generation. I don't know. We have suffered so much and have so much crisis. That's why we always long for emergencies. But why are we called to do culture studies? What problems are we facing in the region? We want to know your worries, your anxiety, your battle that will move culture studies in Asia into a different terrain in the future. Without that passion, without the anxiety, culture studies will just be another discipline, another machine, and it might lose its relevance. So, as we are teachers, we like to give homeworks. Megan already gave you homework to theorize. Now I will give you another homework to ask questions. I will ask questions to you. What are your worries? What are your anxieties? What problems do you see in the region? What drives you? What bothers you? Because this is something that will move you to do what Megan is doing. I cannot answer it for you, but from the conference, I see some issues that might be your problem, but might not be. So please later on do think and answer this question. I saw, and I used the term gap. You see, a gap. There is in your discussion a problem of gap between, for example, gender. For example, in the session about gender and politics, the gap between movement, feminist movement, and the problem of heteronormativity, which masks itself as feminist movement, which masks itself or normalizing gender minorities and subjectivities. I see that in some of your paper. Is that what you're worried about? Is it your anxiety? In my own work, I have a lot of problem with the gap between the sophisticated cultural representation in film, Indonesian literature, very advanced sophisticated discussion of subjectivity, gender, identity with the actual daily life in the street, the backlash of patriarchy in controlling our bodies, the legalization of women's bodies, etc. That's my problem, for example. I see also some problem that you talk about, the gap between the speed and extent of travel, transnational, border crossing, creating almost surreal home making and place making. And then a sense of lack, a sense of alienation, a sense of loneliness between these technologies for travel and subjectivities. Is that your worry? Is that your problem? And then I see also some anxiety over what is put under the carpet when the state works side by side with capitalism. What is put in the carpet in certain cultural production, or even in alternative spaces for youth subjectivities. In my own, in Indonesia, for example, there is a gap. We feel a gap between virtual realities, which really is very dynamic and very progressive, or sometimes, there are a lot of issues there, but there's virtual realities and the real space. The virtual space and virtual realities, which cause a certain anxiety that in some Tumblr, some of my students research this. There is a Tumblr, web Tumblr called Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. And they have all these names, Sodden, or all these kind of obscure sorrows that they know. In Indonesia, we have this term galau. It's describing all anxieties that's not clear what this anxiety is all about. Well, are we tapping into this kind of, the phenomena of the generation? I don't know. So I have actually, in short, I have learned so much from this conference. And it gives me a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, but also a lot of hopes for the vibrant culture studies in the future. And
I love that. It's really